What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Monday edition of the PrizePicks Prop Show here at FTNFantasy.com. My name is Zach Graham, aka Kawaisenberg DFS, ready to jump into tonight's slate of MLB, NBA Finals Game 5. We've got a single game in the WNBA. Excited to get into it. Excited to have a camera that works again. Appreciate everybody's patience with those streams last week that had no video, but did pretty well on those streams. So jumping in here tonight, as we get in here, hit the like button here on the YouTube channel. Helps us grow the show. Good to see Hugo in here, getting ready for a Game 5. We got one. Can't complete the first 3-0 comeback, Hugo, without getting that first one in Game 4. So still haven't gotten that haircut, my friend. Hopefully getting one here this week. We'll go ahead and jump into it because we've got, again, 3 different sports we're going to talk about here today. I've been talking with the great Alex Blickel behind the scenes, especially about some of these MLB picks and what he likes here. And honestly, over the last 20, 30 minutes, had to come up with some new picks because some that both of us were on already bumped on multiple sites here. So you can see Brian David in here. What's going on, man? Good to see you in here, checking out the stream. It's about stacking one game on top of another. Yes, sir. One game at a time. Going to be a tough one tonight here in Boston. We'll get to the NBA in a moment. Let's start on the baseball side of things. And you can see we've got the MLB PrizePicks prop tool at FTNFantasy.com pulled up here on the screen. And I got a couple here that I want to talk about. One that if you are an FTN Fantasy member, you already saw Alex discussing in the Discord channel here this morning. He only wants to take this as a pair. So again, when Alex talks, I listen. So the tool likes the more than selections. Let me change this here to more. Just get my terminology right here. Likes the more than selection on Javi Assad and Jordan Hicks. Alex only wants to play these together. So obviously these two pitchers facing off here tonight in Chicago. Giants favored here and an implied run total of 10. So again, I imagine some of that factors in to Alex and his take here. But if you look at what the tool is saying, Assad more than 23 fantasy score is the top projected prop right now on PrizePicks in the MLB tool. And then if you bring Hicks along, again, he's projected for a hair over 26 fantasy score in the FTN model tonight. He's still at 23.5 as well. You're getting a plus 3.8% correlation bonus here in the tool. Win prediction here, 45.6%. Again, want to pair those two guys. And again, something that was noted in the Discord here this morning. If you look at the fantasy point props for these guys over on Underdog, Assad up to 24.5. And then you look at Hicks is at 25.5. So you're getting some value by playing this pairing on PrizePicks. So already have an entry in with this here this morning, and we can keep it moving here. So again, Assad and Hicks more than 23.5 fantasy score on PrizePicks, and pairing those two together. Then we're going to go over to Coors, where the Dodgers are in town, right? We've got Quantrill on the bump for the Rockies, implied run total of 12.5 in this one. And again, you can see here, we'll clear this pairing out. Quantrill, the second highest rated prop right now in the prop tool here on the MLB side of things. You can see that he is projected in the model for right around 14.5 outs here tonight with the Dodgers offense coming to town. So that's giving us 79% win percentage in the tool. That may be a little bit hot here. But again, I think the best thing to do in this situation is narrow this game down, right? Let's get some correlation here from a Dodger bat or two. And I think this is a kind of salt to taste because, look, I mean, we've got Ohtani here, fantasy points, about 2 shy on his his line, rather, 2 points shy of what his projection is right now in the FTN model. Similar thoughts on Freddie Freeman. Plus 5.6% correlation bonus by pairing these three together. You're also going to, of course, get hit to a point on both PrizePicks and Underdog and Sleeper. You're going to get hit with enough of a correlation penalty here where I'm only going to pair one of these batters with Quantrill here. You can do that with some of these other picks that we're talking about and still get a 24x payout, max payout on a 6-pick entry on PrizePicks. So for me, I'm going to let the tool decide this for me, and it's very, very close. The margins are razor thin here. You see the win percentage on Freeman's more than selection, 56%, 55.9 for Ohtani. So I have no issue, again, whichever guy you prefer. And I just think putting all three of those guys in there, it takes you down to like a 19x, 18, 19x, not really worth it. So just pairing one of these hitters, and again, I'm going with Freddie Freeman to pair with Quantrill there. And Brian said no total play on the Cubs game. Well, we're talking PrizePicks and Underdog here, Brian. So we're not talking totals. But again, if you come sign up at FTNFantasy, you can sign up for the month to get everything. It's around $40 a month. But my favorite value here in terms of the pricing for our subscriptions is the VIP Plus subscription. It's $299.99 for the full year. So it comes out to around $25 a month when you're in there on that annual price. And that gets you access to everything we have here at FTN Fantasy, which is, season long, daily fantasy, betting. You get access to all three of our Discord channels where, again, you can find that MLB betting channel, the MLB plays, and, you're going to get access to all of our advanced statistics, our projection models, literally everything we have here at FTN Fantasy. So I would come check it out. I don't know. I'm getting excited here, Hugo, me and Brian both. So we can take this time before we transition to the hoop side of things, and we can go ahead, move over to the NBA tool here at FTN Fantasy. Just want to remind you all again, if you haven't signed up yet at PrizePicks, I don't know what you're waiting for, but when you go over to PrizePicks at sign up, use the promo code FTN. It'll get you a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. As will downloading the Sleeper app and signing up at Sleeper with that same promo code FTN, you'll get a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100 with Sleeper. And then, of course, you can build similar, if not the exact same plays that we talk about here on the stream at Sleeper or at Underdog Fantasy. And if you sign up right now at Underdog, you're going to get a 50% deposit match bonus. That's up to $250 on your first deposit with that promo code FTN. And right now at Underdog, new customers getting a special discounted pick at sign up. So promo code FTN gets you both of those bonus offers with Underdog. So let's jump into the hoops here tonight. Let's start with the NBA, and we'll finish with the W. And Hugo, I second that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, it helps us grow things here at FTN, especially our presence on the YouTube. So coming over here, I'm rolling with the top projected pick. And actually right now, these are the top 2 projected picks in the tool. So I know Hugo is not going to want to hear this from me here today. Hugo, I think it is over tonight. I think the Celtics close things out, and I'm going to ride with the tool here and the less than selection on Luka Doncic and his points prop of 32.5. Now, I think the model is a little bit low on Luka here, a hair under 27.5 points for his projection. Again, I think that is a little bit cooler than I would be up in the old noggin model there, Hugo, like we like to say, right? Especially for WNBA. And I think on the second pick here, the model a little bit hot, but I still like both of these picks. So I'm taking the less than selection on Luka. And for what it's worth, Luke, I believe, has been under this number in all 4 games so far this series. Again, that doesn't mean that he can't, one of, if not the best player in the league in the world right now, does not mean he can't go out and have an absolute monster game. But Luka in these playoffs, averaging 28.9 points per game in almost 41 minutes. Again, you expect him to play right around 40 here tonight, maybe a couple more, obviously limited to 33 minutes in the last game after that one was over pretty quickly. We had benches cleared by the end of the third quarter. So Brian, volume was up too loud. There you go. Yeah, so don't you do it. Yeah, I did it. So Hugo, of course, resident Mavs fan here, says his back is against the wall and he's in a foreign land. We haven't seen that yet in this series. And Hugo's saying, I never bet against Luka. And look, hey, I totally get it. And the good thing about it is we have more than 6 picks on today's stream. So you don't have to use this one, Hugo. You do not have to bet against your guy. Again, I'm not surprised if Luka pops off here, but going with the model, going with what I've seen, again, the Celtics have done a pretty darn good job of defending Luka in this series. But again, for what it's worth, if that game stays even a little bit closer, or if J-Kidd lets Luka run for another 2-3 minutes, he could have gone over this number. He had 29 in his 33 minutes in the game for victory. So I get it. And like I said, I'm going to the second prop here in the tool in terms of what the tool is liking here this morning. And I think you can take this either way, especially if I'm just talking to Hugo right now. I like what I think the tool is not going to show as correlation, but I think should be slightly positively correlated here. We've got a more than selection on Peyton Pritchard and his points prop of 3.5. So again, you get a negative 0.5 correlation, negative 0.5% correlation bonus in the tool. So not a bonus at all, according to the PrizePicks tool here. But again, I think Peyton Pritchard certainly going to be in the rotation, of course, as long as this game is competitive. And we have seen throughout these playoffs that Peyton Pritchard gets the garbage time run. We saw that in game 4 where he played the final 16 minutes of that game. So again, I think the tools or the model's projection of more than 6 points tonight for Peyton Pritchard, again, I think that is a little bit hot. But I still like the more than selection. Here, Pritchard is averaging 6.6 points per game in these playoffs. And again, it has not been great this series because I think we can set aside, again, the elevated minutes that we got last game. Almost 22 minutes for 14 shot attempts. We're in all likelihood not going to see that again here tonight. So outside of the 11 points he scored last game, this guy had 3 points over the first 3 games, but just 1 of 13 from the field in games 1 through 3. And back home here in the friendly confines of the TD Garden in Boston. Again, I do think it's just a 6.5 point spread in favor of the Celtics last time I looked. So that is nothing crazy. It's not indicating a blowout whatsoever. But I think this line just a little bit low for me on a guy like Peyton Pritchard in this spot. So I'm on the PP here to close out our NBA talk. And then let's get to the WNBA where we only have 1 game here tonight. And there's good to see Zed in here, made it for the last portions of the stream. I don't know, Hugo. It's an NBA Finals game day there for our resident Mavs fans. So look, the tensions are high. But let's close it out. I just have 1 pick right now from this WNBA game tonight, Wings and Lynx. This one is in Minnesota, and of course the Lynx much improved this year. Dallas just 3 wins so far through the first month plus of this season. 10.5 point home favorites are the Lynx here. This one healthy 165.5 implied total, but I'm still looking for a less than selection here. Let me get that typed in instead of the under, right? We got to get the preferred nomenclature on PrizePicks. Kayla McBride, less than 28.5 fantasy score. I also like a less than selection on her points prop of 16.5. But I learned this morning that there are certain states where you can only play fantasy score props on some of these sites. So I'm going to lean into the fantasy score of the two that I like here on McBride. And of course, Kayla McBride, kind of a volume scorer throughout her lengthy career. Again, I think this is year 11 for McBride, former 3-time All-Star, very good player, and having a fantastic year to start things out here in 2024. So here you go. Hugo said, let me guess the WNBA pick. Segrist points. I was taking a look at that. It's really tough for me, I guess, before we continue on McBride, it's tough for me to look at that Dallas Wings side and take some unders that I feel like I should be taking just because of the massive minutes that these ladies are playing right now in Dallas. Of course, still shorthanded. No Natasha Howard, of course, Satu Sabali, I think, coming back around the Olympic break, if I recall correctly. But that gets like Hugo brings up Segrist. I mean, Arike Agumbawale. Like I was considering some of her less than selections this morning. But again, these players are getting 36, 37, 38 minutes a game. And for the unfamiliar, right, 40 minutes in a WNBA game. These players rarely come out. So there's a couple, again, underplays that I'm looking at. If I do end up putting some of those in entries, our FTNFantasy subscribers in the Discord channel will get those plays from me, but a little bit uneasy for me at this point. And so let's jump back here to McBride and talk about why I think this is something we should probably ride. As long as these props are up at this level, I just don't think this is going to be sustainable for McBride. If you go back all the way last 5 seasons for McBride, okay? 2 of those seasons in Vegas with the Aces, and then the last 3 here in Minnesota with the Lynx, she has never averaged more than 14.3 points per game in any of those 5 seasons. She's actually a 14.5 point per game scorer on her career. And again, this is coming off the early parts of Kayla's career where, again, 3-time All-Star, got some MVP votes there in that 2018 season with Vegas where she averaged her career high 18.2 points. Again, that's like 6.5 years ago now. In this season, McBride averaging 17 points per game. But here's where I think this is just, she's running hot here to start over the first 5 weeks of this season. McBride in her career, 41.4% from the field. She is shooting a career high 48.3% from the field. Again, going back to that career high season where she garnered some of the MVP votes that season with Vegas, 44.9% from the field. You look at her from distance, essentially 50% from 3 here over the first 13 games of the year, 49.5%. This is a career 37.1% three-point shooter. And again, her hottest season in the past was actually 2019. So following up that year where she averaged around 18 points a game, she was 43% that season. But on just 4.3 attempts, she's at, again, 50% from 3 on 7.2 attempts. It's just not going to keep up. It's not. 34.2% from 3 last year on 6.4 attempts, which was her previous career high. So again, we're getting career high in attempts, outlandish efficiency right now from McBride. And for what it's worth, also shooting a career high from the free throw line, 92.5%, still almost a 90% career free throw, or from the line rather. So again, we should focus more on the outrageous efficiency from the field and from 3. It's just not what she's done in her career, particularly in the last half decade, 3 of those seasons being spent with this team. So again, I really like the less than on both the fantasy score and the points prop here today for Kayla McBride. So that does it for me here this morning, my friends. I appreciate you guys tuning in and sticking with me here on the Monday edition. You actually get another three-peat of me. I'm going to fill in for Alex here tomorrow on Tuesday and also be on my customary Wednesday stream. So hopefully this is the start of another successful week for us. Let's just run through real quick again. We like the pairing together on PrizePicks where we're getting a little bit of value here. Javi Assad, Jordan Hicks, both more than 23.5 fantasy score. Then we're going to Coors. We're going to take Cal Quantrill, less than 16.5 outs. Pair that with Freddie Freeman, more than 9.5 fantasy score. Again, reminder, Shohei Ohtani, more than 11.5 fantasy score. The tool likes that just as much as this Freeman prop, and I just want to pair one of those guys with the Quantrill play. We're taking the less than selection on Luka Doncic and his points prop of 32.5. We're taking the more than selection on Peyton Pritchard and his points prop of 3.5. And then in the W, we're finishing off with Kayla McBride, less than 28.5 fantasy score or less than 16.5 points, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. That'll do it for me here on the Monday stream. Make sure you sign up at FTNFantasy if you have not yet. Hope to see you in that Discord channel throughout the rest of the day. And we're back tomorrow, same time, same place, with another edition of the PrizePicks Prop Show. And I believe Stanley Cup Final continuing tomorrow night. So maybe we've got some hockey picks as well on our Tuesday stream from the great Chris Meany. Hugo, appreciate you tuning in as always. Everybody else, whether you watched it live or on the replay, hit that like button on your way out. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck tonight, everybody.